Tariffs are taxes. It's not a trade war. It's not personal. It's just business. Free trade was never free. They just advertised it as free because doesn't free sound great? It's free. It was never free. The bill is coming due on 30 years of free trade in an endless war to defend democracy. The bill's due, baby. It's 37 trillion and going up by the second. The question I have to ask myself, as much as I'd like to defend the Ukrainians, I'd like to help the Botswanans, the Mexicans, the Chileans. I'd like to help everybody in the world. I really would, because I got a helping heart. I'm a giver, not a taker. But when you're broke, when you can't help yourself, what kind of a scam is it to think you're going to help other people? President Trump, this is a very kind man. They don't give him an image of being a kind man. They tell every possible lie. And then because he's got a really combative personality, he likes to say things that drives people crazy, like Peck's little bad boy. That's why my mom used to call me. I can relate to Donald Trump because I got some of that in me. If I see you're making false statements about me, oh, I'm going to help you make them. It's not a very kind thing to do. It's not. It's driving people nuts. But they're attacking him very unrighteously. And what can I say? He's a change agent. If we don't change this, we're going to lose everything that's ever been built up in this country. That would be freedom for a start. And I don't mean freedom in the sense of free trade. I mean freedom as in an unalienable right granted to me by a creator, my creator. Oh, I'm not giving that up. You better, you can bet on that one. I'm not giving that up. And a lot of Americans feel that way. And because we feel that way, they've been going about it a very sneaky strategy. And that is, hey, let's bankrupt everybody. Notice those prices of eggs lately, the price of chicken. You think that's an accident? Or you think somebody sat down and said, we're going to screw this up so bad, they'll beg us for the government to help them. Let's listen to this first clip from Howard Lutnick.
April 2nd, that's going to be reciprocal tariffs, and I'm happy to talk about that. But let's try to keep those two different.
Okay, understood. But you say he's not going to take his foot off the gas. Does that mean these are permanent tariffs? Mr. Secretary, can you provide clarity, yes or no?
If fentanyl ends, I think these will come off. But if fentanyl does not end or he's uncertain about it, they will stay this way until he is comfortable. This is black and white. You got to save American lives. So with respect to fentanyl, this is about the border and fentanyl, and that's an agreement between the president and the two leaders of Canada. Of course, Justin Trudeau's got a lot to say. Of course, he's leaving in like days, so it's not really that fun to listen to some guy who's trying to create sort of a mess for Canada, which he's trying to do. President Sheinbaum did a much more calm, thoughtful conversation with President Trump, and that's why this is the result. She was able to negotiate it because she said 1,000 more people on the border, stopping fentanyl from coming into this country.
Well, President Trudeau is gone. He's been replaced by a guy named Harper. He was a former governor of the Central Bank of Great Britain. Couldn't get any more globalist than that, could you? So they've taken one globalist, Trudeau, and put a new globalist in their place. And Canada, part of the Commonwealth, is a globalist place. It's not really what we think it is. You know, you go up there, a lot of people speak English. If you're over in Eastern Canada, they speak French. They dress like we do. They like hockey. I'm from Minnesota. I'm recording this today in the studios of Free People Radio, coming to you from Minneapolis, Minnesota, the belly of the beast, communism in the upper Midwest. Yeah, the Canadians, they're not who we think they are. And I can make that statement because I got business in Canada, friends in Canada. I'm actually involved in the Canadian business scene. And they are not the same as we are. They have a very different political orientation as a group, as a country. and their eyes are on global governance, the liberal global governance, one world economy, one world currency, one world government. That's where the Canadian will is at. And that makes President Trump, well, not too favorable to the Canadians. And as Howard Lutnick said, he's doing a little bit better with the Mexican president, Claudia Sheinbaum, because even though she is an avowed communist, there's a much deeper sense of nationalism in Mexico. The Mexicans are all about Mexico. The Canadians are all about the world. It's much easier for President Trump to make a deal with Mexico. But, you listen to Howard Lutnick, you listen to him carefully, and he says, as long as there's a fentanyl problem or President Trump isn't sure, there's going to be tariffs, which means forever. Let's listen to President Trump talking about said tariffs that he is imposing.
Go ahead. What else?
Mr. President, what kind of Robert, go ahead. Americans who have seen their retirements accounts fall in recent day, they're getting very nervous about these tariff conversations.
Oh, I think the tariffs are going to be the greatest thing we've ever done as a country. It's going to make our country rich again. We have many companies, as you know, auto companies are opening up plants now. We've had 4 or 5 announced already, but many more are coming. And we're basically going to take back the money, or a lot of the money that we've given away over many decades. We've lost our jobs, we've lost our factories. We've lost 90,000 factories since the beginning of NAFTA. It's not that long ago. 90,000 factories, think of that. And we're going to get them back, and they're coming back, and they're coming back in records. Look at what happened with the big chip company, the biggest in the world, by far the most powerful chip company in the world, from Taiwan, and they're going in with $200 billion of money, and they're going to build something that's going to give us 35–40% of the chip market in one company. No, it's going to bring it back, and I think it's going to make us bring us to a level that we've never had before.
Well, that's a full-throated endorsement of change, isn't it? I think that is fantastic. I do, because I was here in this country in business before this Democrat liberal order free trade thing really took root. And that was, for those of us who are conservatives, under St. Reagan's administration. Yes, it was St. Reagan, 1980 to 1988, that tripled the national debt. Tripled it, more than tripled it. It was about 700–800 billion when he sat in the chair. It was 3 trillion when he left. So that was the start of running up the bill. And, well, President Reagan was a free trader of the highest order. So, this is a bipartisan agreement between both ends of the Uni Party. Everybody agrees, free trade, world governance, world currency, an endless war to protect democracy, the United States, the policeman of the world. There's been broad bipartisan agreement about this since 1946. Wow, about half the Republicans are still in with the Democrats, and they actually think they're Republicans. No, you are not a Republican unless you become a Republican focused on domestic manufacturing, a border, and peace. In other words, peace and prosperity. When President Trump says that these tariffs are going to make the country rich again, he is not lying. He intends to tax all of the imports, all $4 trillion worth of imports, by about 20%. That's $800 billion a year of new revenue for the United States of America, balancing the budget, paying the debt down. And 20%, and I can say this as somebody in business, in the tire business, where we want you to come and support John Fredericks the next time you buy tires, go to tireget.com, use that Godzilla code. Thank you for doing so. But because I am in a global industry, I know that 20% taxes don't change the nature of the business. It just raises revenue so that we, the people, do not go broke.